A 2-year-old girl vanishes, and for 31 days, her mother says nothing. No 911 call, no flyers, no tears. Instead, she goes shopping. She goes clubbing. She enters a hot body contest at a downtown nightclub. And somewhere in those 31 days, she gets a tattoo in Italian that reads, Bella Vita, beautiful life, while her daughter, somewhere, is already dead. When detectives finally pull her car from a tow yard, her own father will tell them under oath, it smells like a human corpse. A child found in the woods, wrapped in laundry bags, duct tape, wrapped 3 times around her skull. A mother who lied to police. A jury who acquitted her in less than 11 hours. And one question that, more than a decade later, still has no answer. And the most disturbing part? The woman at the center of this case is back. She has a TikTok. She has a bob haircut. She has a new boyfriend. And she's calling herself a legal advocate. Orlando, Florida. Hope Spring Drive. A modest suburban home with a pool in the back. The Anthonys looked like any other family on the block. George, a former police officer turned security guard. Cindy, a registered nurse. 2 adult children still living at home. And 1 tiny granddaughter who was the light of the entire house. Caylee Marie Anthony was born on August 9, 2005. By the summer of 2008, she was almost 3. Brown eyes, curly brown hair, a smile her grandmother said she could see across a room. Her mother, Caylee Marie Anthony, was 22, unemployed, living rent-free in her parents' home. The identity of Caylee's biological father has never been publicly confirmed. From the outside, a normal family. Behind the door of the house on Hope Spring Drive, something was already very wrong. July 15, 2008, just before 10 p.m., a 911 dispatcher picks up a call from Cindy Anthony. Her voice is shaking. She tells the operator she has not seen her granddaughter in more than 30 days. She tells the operator her daughter's car smells like a dead body has been inside it. Officers arrive within minutes. Casey gives them a story. Caylee, she says, is with a nanny, a woman named Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez. Detectives run the name. They visit the apartment Casey describes. There is no nanny. There is no Zenaida who matches the description. The apartment Casey gave them has been vacant for months. The entire story collapses inside 48 hours. On July 16, 2008, Caylee Anthony is arrested, charged with child neglect and obstruction of a criminal investigation. Her white Pontiac Sunfire is towed from Johnson's wrecker service. According to court testimony, multiple witnesses, including George Anthony, described the smell coming from that trunk as the unmistakable odor of human decomposition. But Caylee is still missing. For 5 months, nothing. Search parties walk the woods. Helicopters fly the area. Tip lines light up from every state in America. And Casey, sitting in the Orange County Jail, gives them nothing useful. Then, forensic teams turn to her devices. According to trial testimony, searches recovered from a desktop computer inside the Anthony home included the word chloroform, a chemical that can render a person unconscious. The exact number of searches became one of the most disputed pieces of evidence of the entire trial. Prosecutors said 84 times. The defense said the real number was 1, a single hit. Amplified, they claimed, by faulty forensic software. Searches for neck breaking appeared in that same browsing history. Air samples taken from the trunk of Casey's car came back, according to prosecution witnesses, positive for traces of chloroform and the chemical signature of human decomposition. Then, 5 months in, on December 11, 2008, a utility meter reader named Roy Kronk was walking through a wooded lot on Suburban Drive, less than half a mile from the Anthony home. He found a small skull, wrapped in plastic, with a piece of duct tape still attached. On December 19, 2008, the Orange County medical examiner confirmed it. The remains were Caylee. I want to pause here, because the medical details are difficult, but they matter. The body was so decomposed that only skeletal remains were left. The bones showed no fractures, no obvious trauma. Dr. Jan Garavaglia, the Orange County chief medical examiner, would later testify she could not determine an exact cause of death. But she could rule the manner. She called it homicide by undetermined means. She told the jury 3 things drove that conclusion. The child was never reported missing. The body was hidden, wrapped in laundry bags, dumped in a swamp. And duct tape was found wrapped across the front of the skull, covering where the nose and mouth had been. In her own words on the stand, duct tape on a child's face is, quote, indication of homicide. Stop and think about that with me for a second. A toddler, a swamp, plastic bags, duct tape, and a mother who during the 31 days her daughter's body was decomposing in the woods was tagged in nightclub photos. If you're a parent watching this, I want you to tell me in the comments, how is that humanly possible? How does anyone look the other way that long? On October 14, 2008, almost 2 months before Caylee's body was even found, an Orange County grand jury indicted Caylee Anthony. First-degree murder. A capital offense under Florida Statute 782.04, punishable by life imprisonment without parole or death. Aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter of a child, and 4 counts of providing false information to a law enforcement officer. The state of Florida announced it would seek the death penalty. Caylee Anthony pleaded not guilty. She was held without bond. The trial, State of Florida versus Caylee Marie Anthony, began on May 24, 2011. Judge Belvin Perry Jr. presiding. The lead prosecutor, Jeff Ashton. The lead defense attorney, Jose Baez. It ran 33 days. The state called nearly 70 witnesses. They put almost 400 pieces of evidence in front of the jury. The defense pivoted on day 1. Caylee, Baez told jurors, had drowned accidentally in the family's swimming pool. Caylee had panicked. Her father, George, Baez argued, had helped her cover it up. George Anthony denied that under oath. On July 5, 2011, after fewer than 11 hours of deliberation, the jury of 7 women and 5 men delivered its verdict. Not guilty of first-degree murder. Not guilty of aggravated child abuse. Not guilty of aggravated manslaughter. Guilty only on 4 misdemeanor counts of lying to law enforcement. On July 7th, she was sentenced to 1 year per count, 4 years total, with credit for nearly 3 years already served, plus good behavior. On July 17, 2011, 10 days after sentencing, Caylee Anthony walked out of the Orange County Jail a free woman. 2 of those 4 convictions were later overturned on appeal. Under American law, the principle of double jeopardy means she can never be tried for Caylee's murder again. that door is closed. Forever. So who killed Caylee Anthony? A medical examiner says homicide. A jury says not the woman the state charged. And here's where it gets stranger. Today, in 2026, Caylee Anthony is 39 years old. She has spent years living in South Florida, reportedly inside the home of Patrick McKenna, the lead investigator on her own defense team, where she has worked as a researcher. In December 2020, she filed paperwork in Palm Beach County, Florida, to form a private investigation business, Case Research and Consulting Services, LLC. According to the Orlando Sentinel, she was not, at that time, a licensed private investigator in the state. Then, in March 2025, she joined TikTok. In her first video, she introduces herself as a researcher and a legal advocate. She talks about due process, the presumption of innocence. She says she wants to help people navigate the justice system. In July 2025, she was photographed by TMZ in New Hampshire on what appeared to be a date with a man identified as a gun shop owner and former Army Ranger. If you've watched her TikToks, I want to know. Drop one word in the comments. Just one. Tell me how it made you feel. Because the case has never been reopened, no one else has ever been charged, and legally, it is over. But somebody, somewhere, knows what happened in those last few minutes of a 2-year-old girl's life.
If this story stayed with you, please subscribe to the channel, share this video, send it to the next person you know who remembers watching that verdict on live television. Because Caylee Marie Anthony was 2 years old, she loved her grandparents, she loved swimming, and she deserved so much more than 31 days of silence and a grave in a swamp. In June of 2008, a little girl with brown eyes climbed into her mother's car and was never seen alive again. We may never know exactly what happened in the last hour of her life, but somebody does.